There she goes. She's walking down the boulevard.
I guess the genesis of MATTOO really started when I went to Mexico and I was working in an orphanage there. This was like in the late 90s. And while working in this orphanage, I heard about this phrase called sex trafficking, which was really new to me. I was a white kid from the suburbs in Minnesota. I get arms trafficking, drug trafficking, but how do you traffic sex? Like and then about a few seconds later, the people that mentioned that pointed to some young girls under the age of 10 and under that had been rescued from it, and it completely destroyed my world. It didn't fit in my little box that could happen.
I'm just an accidental charlatan.
Yeah, I think one of the primary ones is that these women want to be doing it. I think that's one of the primary myths that drives men to believe that their fantasy that they want to be doing it can exist. That fantasy needs to be in place, right? That they want to be doing it for them to really maybe have somewhat of a clear conscience. There's a study that was done by Dr. Melissa Farley, led by her and many other PhDs, and they went to 8 or 9 countries, I forget the exact amount. They interviewed over 800 people being prostituted, and what they found was that 89% of these women being prostituted wanted to escape. Not find a part-time job to supplement income. They wanted to escape. And that is a statistic, that's what men need to begin to realize, is that why the women get into it in the first place, why they stay, it's against, most of the time, it is against their will. And that's one of the primary myths that needs, and there's many other ones, but that would be one of the primary ones that needs to be deconstructed.
Except the little boy inside me.
Why is the message of MATTOO so important? Like decreasing the demand of human trafficking. What does that even mean? So what I'll use to illustrate that is human trafficking a few years ago passed arms dealing, as now it's the second largest criminal market in the world. Arms dealing is number 3, drug dealing is number 1. So human trafficking is the second largest criminal market in the world. But more important to highlight is that it is the fastest growing criminal market in the world. And so what that means then is that if you rescue one woman, 2 will be put in that person's place. That's what's happening. And so we need to rescue. Absolutely, we need to rescue. However, if we just keep rescuing and rescuing, that's like if there's a building burning down in a big city. It's just like the firefighters going in there, taking the people out, and then just letting the building burn. And then the building gets spread to another, and then the fire gets spread to another building. And then the firefighters just taking those people out and just letting the fire continue to burn. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about decreasing the demand, decreasing that fire, focusing on that fire, putting that fire out. Like, yes, we need to get the people out of there, but what MATTOO is focusing on is putting out that fire, so that it no longer is the fastest growing criminal market in the world. Like, we want to see it slow down, that growth slow down, and then eventually plateau, and then eventually drive it downwards. And that's why the message of MATTOO is so important, because it is men and boys, it's their misconceptions, their myths that they want to believe, the fantasies that they want to believe, that is driving this. And so that's why it's so important that this message gets out.
She speaks and I just stutter. I'd like to get to know you, but I'm afraid to show you my sin. So maybe we'd be better